Hi Creatives, Claire from Right Accounts, and in this video I'm going to talk more about inventory management, following on from last week's video where we talked about the temptation to make a lot of stock when you have some spare time. But in this video I'm going to go through an inventory management system used by big businesses and how we can apply that to small businesses. So the system I want to talk about is called Just in Time. And what Just in Time does is it optimizes the production process so that supplies arrive just in time, products are created just in time, and products arrive with customers or clients just in time. And there's a big focus in a just in time system on making the supply chain and the production as streamlined and optimized as possible. And when we first read about it, it can seem out of reach for most small businesses because of that emphasis on supply chain and communication with suppliers. But there are aspects that we can apply and we can understand to improve our business's performance. So the first one I will talk about is the supplies lead time. Now, by lead time, I mean the turnaround from when you place an order with a supplier to when that order or the stock or the supplies arrive with you. So when we understand the different lead times, we can understand how to optimize that in terms of investing in the supplies, cash flow, and when we would need to reorder. So if we order custom packaging from the US and it takes on average 6 weeks to arrive, we also order something from a local supplier that's not custom, that's off the shelf, and that takes a week to arrive, that's going to impact on how regularly and in what quantity we would probably purchase those materials. It's going to be a higher shipping cost to come from the US, and a longer time to wait means we're going to need to buy additional quantity. Whereas the local supplier, we could probably order more frequently in a smaller quantity, and this will give us more free cash flow in the business. The second thing is production time. So if you sell a range of products in your shop, they're potentially going to take different lengths of time to create. And what we can do to optimize is to not build up the stock of items that are actually quite quick to make. So for example, if you make accessories, it may take a long time to make a handbag, but it may not take a lot of time to make a makeup pouch or a zipper bag. So in terms of managing stock, we're better to make more bags in the beginning, particularly if we're working up to an event or we're working through a season, say Christmas season, and then keep less stock of the items that are quicker to replace, because we can do that kind of as we go through the season. It's the same with if you have, balancing another job or other responsibilities. Building up the stock that takes the longest is going to take the longest time. So we start on those products first. And then we can also look at optimizing the supplies we order with that. So we're not necessarily going to go out in August and order all the supplies we need. We can gradually introduce those supplies along with a making schedule. The third thing that comes up in just in time is base units. And base units are items that can be adapted in multiple ways to create separate products. So for example, in my business, when I make metal jewelry, I can make a base metal shape that gets about halfway through the production process. And then I can make a choice and it can actually turn into one of quite a few products. So it can become earrings or necklaces or a bracelet, and it can have a number of different finishes. And all of those are individual items. So I know in the run up to say Christmas or an event, I can make a lot of the base items and then I can see what's selling, what stock I need to top up, and take that base item and create it into a specific product without as much production time because I got it to that kind of stage before it splits into the specific. The next tip isn't so much about stock and inventory management, but about how we organize and plan our inventory, our workflow, ourselves and our office. So have you streamlined the other parts of your business, the other operations within your business? For example, packaging and postage. Do you have all your packaging and postage supplies in one place? Or are you running around the office to get an envelope from here and tissue paper from over there and business cards from elsewhere? We can organize those. We can really optimize the time that we spend preparing for packaging. The same with production. Are all the materials and tools you need to create your items together, or are they scattered around your home or around your office? Streamlining that workflow really can help us with time. And the other way we can streamline as well is also batching production. So rather than taking one product from the beginning right through to the end and then starting again, we can create multiples of that same product, presuming we think they're going to sell. And that kind of reduces our changeover time between the different parts of the process. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is a little bit away from just in time, but is another inventory management thing called economic order quantity. And I touched on this a little bit when I was talking about supplies lead time. So economic order quantity is a calculation, a principle of formula, where we look at the optimum balance between ordering in bulk and ordering frequently, because there can be a lot of cash tied up in a bulk purchase, and there can be a lot of cash tied up in keeping stock or keeping inventory or keeping supplies in your house. They use the cash flow in your business and take away from other opportunities. So a really simple example would be envelopes. You get the lowest price for envelopes by buying 5,000 envelopes, but where would you keep 5,000 envelopes? Ideally, you may go through 10 envelopes a week, but if the postage is $10, it's not going to be optimum to be spending $10 every week to buy 10 envelopes. Now, I'll not mention the formula. There are a couple of links in the description about this if you want to go and get more information. But the principle of it is you work out how many you need on a regular basis, so 10 a week. Then we look at how long it takes for those supplies to come. So say it takes 2 weeks. The minimum we then need to have in stock before we reorder is 20. So that's a trigger point. When we get to 20 envelopes, it's a trigger for us to order more. And then we look at how frequently they would arrive, how much the postage, and how much the bulk discount is for, say, buying 5,000 envelopes. It's really just a balancing thing of we don't have to buy everything in bulk, but sometimes it is actually valuable for us to be able to buy everything in bulk. If this video has been useful, please leave me a like or a comment. Let me know if you have questions. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll link to the full blog so you can read this as well. And otherwise, I'll see you in another video.